TB? What are you doing in the bin, TB? Oh, wait. That's what you're doing in the bin, is it? We can't have TB in the bin, can we? Let's get no TBs in the bin. Oh God, no. Put you over there, TB. Or shall I say, put the bin over there? Oh my God, TB's in the bin. You must be joking. Oh, we can't have that, can we, boy? Oh, bloody hell. Bloody hell. Let's sort the old camera out. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Hookster Talks. Yes, unfortunately I have seen the trailer today and I had to take myself off for a couple of hours and calm down. I will discuss that in a moment. Let's put the tablet on first. If you like a rant, stand by, because there's one coming. Right, here he is, everyone. Everyone's favourite bear. It's TB. Oh, look, he's got bin dust on him. Oh no, he's got bin dust. Get the bin dust off the TB. Yes, get the bin dust off the TV. There it is. There it is. That's better. Yes, everyone's favourite bear. And Mr. Will F1, if you're watching, that was for you putting TB in the bear because I said I was going to do it, and you got very upset. Very upset. It's just a puppet. You got very upset, and that's why I didn't actually acknowledge your message either, because I was just basically winding you up. Yeah, they got so upset at TB. And Nicola as well. She said, no, don't put TB in the bin, she said. Oh, it's fascinating. It's fascinating how much control I've got over the TV. It's brilliant, brilliant. Anyway. Hello, everyone. And welcome to the stream. Yes, we're a little bit late tonight. Basically, yeah. Let's discuss. First off, let's have some good news. Okay. The good news is it's F1 back this weekend. And we're at Imola. Yes. Oh my God. Imola is back. Let me just let me just spread the word. Spread my message out to as many people as I can. Yes. Here we are. Hookster Talks. Let me just copy paste that into Twitter and Facebook, and I'll be with you. Bear with me, everyone. Bear with me. I'll look at the comments any second now. Just I have to do all this manually, you know. Yeah, I haven't got a secretary to do this all for me. There we go. And now we'll just put this into Twitter. Where are you, Twitter? Right, there we go. We are ready to rock and roll. Okay, let's go to the chat. Hello, Mr. Just Jamo. He says, I was literally just about to ask in the EOL chat where the shout man is. Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Don't panic, everyone. The rotational axis of the Earth has now continued to operate because I'm back. Hello, Scott. Welcome to the stream. Yes, I'm fine, thank you, mate. Fine, thank you. Anyway, so let's do the good stuff out of the way first. You can tell I'm just waiting. I'm like champion at the bit here, can't you? Okay, so yes, we've got another Formula One race this weekend at Imola. Should be really good for the Ferraris, hopefully. And hopefully Mercedes are a little bit quicker. And the Red Bulls, of course, will hopefully not have their engine problems that they've had for the past few rounds. And we will see a good old Titanic battle, because Imola's a really great circuit for overtaking. So the DRS effect and everything else that's affecting with these new cars should be really good to see at Imola. So I can't wait. So leave your predictions for the top three, as usual, for the Imola race. And we will see how it goes. Okay, that's enough of that. Oh! I'm seething, everyone. I'm seething. I really am. I had to go and calm down for a bit. Okay. I'm going to start now. So Codemasters have released their trailer. I use that term very, very loosely for F1 22. Don't forget, 22. Not F1 2022. F1 22. Yes. They've taken out 2 numbers, which means you're only going to get half a game this year. Yes. Pretty much like last year then, really. And oh my God. It's a 29-second trailer. And it contains absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And yet, they want you to pre-order it. Pre-order it. For 80 quid for the deluxe version, or whatever you want to call it. It's £60 for the standard version. They want you to pre-order that, and they have given you absolutely nothing. Now, I've already said this in one of the other chats I'm in, so I'm going to say it again, so anyone who's seen this will know I'm repeating myself, but it's fresh to everyone on YouTube. That's like having sex with a prostitute with a paper bag over your head. You're not quite sure what you're going to end up with. No. Don't do it, everyone. Do not be seduced by the dark side of EA and pre-order F1 22 for £80 when there's absolutely no gameplay of it whatsoever. There's just some screenshots online and that's it. There was no gameplay in that trailer. There was nothing. Just the Ponzi F1 2022 car being shown with all flashy lights around it. That was it. Absolutely zero gameplay. And yet they want you to part right now, that's right now, with 80 quid. And it's not even out until July the 1st. It's just unbelievable. And how fantastic is this game? Oh my God. Now, for once I will direct you to go over to the Araver channel and see what he says about it. I'm just gobsmacked. Araver was explaining it like a cocaine dealer. He's explaining, you know, how you do lines of crack, to be honest, because it was unbelievable. I swear I thought his eyes were going to pop out of his head. He was just so excited. Just so excited. Now, I'm going to stop now with the Araver bashing, okay? Because I don't want to come across as being a bully. Unfortunately, Araver gets a lot of flack because he's on the front line. He's up there as like one of the top F1 YouTubers, so he's going to get some flack. There's no avoiding it. He's going to get some flack. But oh my God, was he so sucked in to EA's F1 22, it was unbelievable. I swear, I don't know how many Red Bulls he had before he even started that video, but he must have been about 6 Red Bulls up, I would have thought, because I've never ever seen his eyeballs trying to come out of his eyes like they were during that video. It was just amazing. It really was amazing. And he was so excited about nothing. 29 seconds of nothing. Admittedly, he went to the press release about the game and he was explaining all the features, and there's nothing really there, is there? There's nothing. Oh well, yes, we've improved this part, and yes, we've finally got round to making sure all the circuits now are up to date, like Australia. Yes, we've done that, so that's worth 80 quid, isn't it? No, it's not. I've never in all my life seen a trailer as shit, absolute shit, as that one from Codemasters. Seriously. They've brought out teaser trailers before and they've had, 20 seconds of gameplay footage, which is fair enough in a 30-second trailer. Get 20 seconds of footage, but this video contains zero footage whatsoever. Zero. Absolutely nada. And they still want you right now at this moment to part with your 80 quid. You know why they want you to do that now? So they get an idea of how many sales they're going to get before the game comes out in July. Take my advice, everyone. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's ridiculous. And now, of course, there's this new feature called EA Life. Yeah, which is just a thinly veiled excuse for where all the microtransactions are going to be. Oh, you're going to be able to buy clothing. Yes, clothing. That's going to be great. And supercars. Yes, supercars. And all that other bowls. That's obviously going to mean that you're going to have to spend microtransaction money to buy all this stuff. And some of these microtransactions, if you add them all together, can end up hundreds and hundreds of pounds or dollars, wherever you are. Hundreds sometimes. It's just absolutely ridiculous. As for anything exciting or new in the game, there's nothing. There's no breaking point or story mode that there was last year. No, apparently that's been put off now until the next year, so that's going to be 2023. More disappointing is you would have thought for a game which is going to have a next generation makeover, and it looks like finally this is going to have a new engine for PS5 consoles and the new Xbox thingy, whatever you want to call it. You would have thought that one of the best things they could have brought back to a brand new game engine would have been the classic cars. But no, there's no classic cars either. No. It looks like the classic cars have gone in the bin for good. Yes. Or they may bring them back in a few years' time when the sales of the game are starting to decline so little that no one's buying it anymore, and they'll think, oh, let's bring the classic cars back because everyone loves that feature. That'll get the sales back in. That's when they'll do it, but they won't do it right now. No. So the classic cars have been dumped. They're in the bin. No classic cars. So what are you getting for your £80? Well, you're getting my team again. Yes, with a few improvements. Wowzers. Absolute wowzers. What else are you getting for your £80? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's going to be the same game as last year. Oh, apparently it's got a revised tyre model. A revised tyre model this year. I can't wait to spend my £80 on that. In fact, I think I'll go and pre-order it right now just for that revised tyre model. It's just absolute bullshit. And typical of EA, of course, which I have been warning people for quite a long time that this was going to happen. Now, thankfully, and I'd like to thank everybody who has viewed my video about why EA taking over Codemasters was a bad idea. I've had a lot of views on that video, and I'd like to thank everyone who's watched it because it gets the message across. It gets the message across, so that's good. I like that. So thanks to everyone who actually watched that. That was great. So yeah, this is just, well, it's just EA being EA, unfortunately. Now, as you may have realised, I am very, 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 very passionate about the F1 games, and have been since the original Formula One game back in 1996. Now, unfortunately, over the years, I've seen my own interest wane as the games have declined in what I would call the epitome of what an F1 game should be. Yeah, because what is out at the moment, F1 2021, is not my idea of an ideal F1 game. It's just, they just added more features, and now it's just more and more complicated. It's just layers and layers of bullshit. Absolute bullshit over the top of each other. It's just ridiculous. It really is. They need to scrape away all that shit and take F1 back to its roots. At the end of the day, you play an F1 game to do qualifying and a race. That's all you play it for. You do not play it for building up a collection of supercars that you've got to pay for. There's other games that will do that for you. You can have your Gran Turismo 7s or whatever. You can do that quite reasonably. That's okay. But Formula One should not start all this buying cars and helmets and all that other malarkey. That's not what Formula One games were about. This is just EA doing their usual cash cow like they do with all their franchises. And now, unfortunately, we have to say that F1 is now under the EA franchise. Codemasters. I'm just waiting to see when the game comes out how small the Codemasters name is going to appear on the box. It's probably going to be on the back. You know that bit on the back of all your Blu-rays and DVDs where it tells you about the film and who directed it, and they put it on there so small now you can't even see it. That's where the Codemasters name's going to go now, because, as I say, EA are slowly over time dissolving Codemasters. Now, Codemasters have never been great, as to be said. They've had a lot of attacks about the Formula One games, but they did at least keep them in a sort of a good place for quite a few years. F1 2010, of course, was, in my opinion and most people's opinion, the best Codemasters F1 game that ever came out. And slowly over time, it's degraded in quality. But there was always this sort of essential sort of, you know, a basic game was still there from Codemasters. Now, the reins are off. EA are in total control for the first time in the Formula One game. So now everything Codemasters want to do has to go through EA. And of course, EA are always thinking about those few bucks they can make out of you, a few extra bucks. So as well as £80 for the game, you're going to have to pay out for microtransactions if you want, you know, like these supercars or whatever in the game, which I've got no right to be in a Formula One game. Why the hell is there supercars in a You've never had supercars in a Formula One game. It's fine to have old cars as unlockables and, you know, little bonuses, old Formula One cars. Everybody loves that, but not supercars. It's just out of place in a Formula One game. It really is. We need old Formula One cars. That's what we need as unlockables. In fact, you know, I'd quite rightly pay a tiny amount to have old cars if they're in there. But supercars? You gotta be joking. It's not the place, is it, to have supercars in a Formula One game? It just really isn't. And of course you can't buy old cars anyway, because there are no old cars in the game. Fantastic. So yes, listen to me, everyone. Do not pre-order F1 22. Please, for the love of God, don't pre-order it. If you want to pre-order it later on, that's entirely up to you. But do not do it right now. Do not get sucked in by the hype of EA, because it's just ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. £80 for 29 seconds of pre-rendered footage, and none of that is from the game. That's what you're paying for. You've got no idea how good that game is going to be. And yet they want that 80 quid out of you right now. Pre-order, 80 quid. Yeah, get it in our coffers. So that's money in their bank. Money in their bank that they are getting interest on as well, because they haven't even bought the game out yet. So that money goes straight into their bank that they're getting interest on. That's why they want it now. So they get a the maximum amount of money that they can screw out of you before they start doing microtransactions where they can screw you for some more. Yeah. Oh my God. When I saw that trailer, I was so incensed. I actually said, "Right, that's it. I'm done. I'm completely done. I'm shutting down the channel. I'm done," because it just annoyed me so much. It really did. I was just like, anyway, I'm back now. It's okay. I'm back now. I've had a couple of hours of punching the wall, and I'm fine. But it's just so bloody annoying. So bloody annoying. It really is. Okay, let's go to the comments. Hello, Matthew. Blimey, I just said that in the comments. It just disappeared. Where are you? Right, here we go. There we go. I've calmed down now, everyone. I do apologise if that was too ranty, but it has to be said. It has to be said. It really is. Matt says, "Hi Dave, F1 22. Don't forget, F1 22 looks crap. Barely any new stuff. What's the point, really?" Exactly, Matt. Exactly. What is the point, really? But the most biggest point is spending £80 right now on a pre-order, which is ridiculous. EA says FIFA 22, so they're doing it the same as F1. Yeah, I expect that's what they'll be doing in future. Fascinating fact, because I did ask this in one of the chats I'm in, but nobody was bothered to answer it because they were like, "Oh, go away, Dave, go away. The old man's talking again, go away." I did ask, when was the last time that an F1 game actually had the numbers shortened? So if anyone can come up with that answer, let me know. Okay. I'll give you a little clue. The game in question had a massive bug in it during the pit stops, which they had to change, and it was released later on Platinum with the bug fixed. There you go. Let me know. Just JMO says there is a statement out from them now that gives a few details, but not to have any gameplay in the reveal. Get it out, Dave. Get it out. Even with the work in progress sign, and ask for pre-orders as a joke. Yeah, exactly, Joe. It is a joke. It is a joke. As I say, there was no footage of the game in that trailer whatsoever. In my opinion, they had a damn cheek releasing that trailer. A damn cheek. And all the F1 big F1 YouTubers are just, I don't know. They've just gone nuts, absolutely nuts, over 29 seconds of nothingness. They have. They've just gone. They're masturbating in their own feces right now. I'm sure they are. About, but I shouldn't have said that. But you know what I mean. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous. It really is. Can't believe it. However's video's like 14 minutes long or something. 14 minutes long! How the hell could you get 14 minutes out of that? Admittedly, he was reading off the press release as well, so yeah, but still, come on. They're just so up EA's backside. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Really, it is. They're just so in with them. It's just, and the way they just get so excited. Well, of course they would be excited because most likely EA pay them money. Yes, of course they do. Of course they do. We know they do because that's their job, isn't it? The F1 YouTubers, that is their proper job. So, of course, EA are going to pay the money to, make their games look good. Of course they are. It's obvious. Anyone knows it. Anyone with their eyes popping out of their head is getting money for doing that, okay? You couldn't pay me £1 million and have my eyes popping out of my head. Well, maybe you could. But that was the 80s. Anyway, Hello, Mr. JW97. He says, clean shake. Yeah, that's me. That's me. I did it just for the reveal. No, I didn't. I did it over Easter. Mr. Will F1, he says, oh dear, we have a ranting Hookster. We do. It's not a pleasant sight either, Will. I'll tell you, it's not a pleasant sight. I should get back to the teddy bear in a minute. He says, I'm getting F1 Manager game first. Yeah, now F1 Manager game may be the direction that I might be going into. Yeah. I'll still have F1 22 because obviously I'd be stupid not to. But hopefully I can bin it off into a fortnightly series like I do now with the 2021. That's my plan anyway. Yeah. But as a manager, that could be a... Now the only problem of course is the cost, because we're talking about, I don't know how much, that's about £100 just in games, which is a lot of money for me, unfortunately. But we will see what happens. All I will say is, now I don't like to say this because I could get into trouble from YouTube, but if you could all do me a solid and occasionally when watching my videos, press that little thing that runs across the bottom. You know that? Yeah. Or maybe when it says skip thingy, perhaps you don't. Just when it starts, just let it run. Just let it run. Yeah. And that would be doing me a solid and helping me out. I don't know if I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I don't run this channel for profit. No. I don't make any money out of this channel. And the reason for that is because every penny that I make out of this channel is reinvested back into the channel again. Okay? So I don't take any money out of it externally. So anything that I make is reinvested back in again. So if I get that initial investment, that means I can buy, you know, the latest games and continue to showcase them for you guys to enjoy. So, you know, that's a little thing. I'm not a big F1 YouTuber channel, and this is not my job. This is definitely not my job. No, I would love it to be. I'd love to be able to do this full time, but unfortunately, it doesn't make enough money to do that. It doesn't even make enough money to do it part time. No. So if I could, I'd love to do F1 full time. Really would. YouTube, yeah. But as I say, it's actually, from what I do in a day, it's the lowest paid out of what I do. Yeah, unfortunately, but you know, there you go. Never going to be that popular at my age because it's YouTube, as everyone knows, is a young person's, you know, thing. It's cliche, I know, but it is also true. If you want to get good on YouTube, you have to be, you know, basically of a certain age. I've seen older people that have done well, but not to any great extent, unfortunately. But yeah, as I say, if you could do me a solid and do that, you know, not every time, just occasionally. If you're watching all seasons, just let the little thing run for a minute. That would help. Because it's only pennies, you know, it's only pennies anyway. Just pennies. But that would help. So if I could get the F1 Manager, I'd like to do a series on that because I've been excited for that game. I did see it on PC when it came out, and that looked pretty good. And I noticed they started doing it on Android as a free version, and I thought, it's okay, but if they're going to go that route, then I don't think it's going to be for me, really, because it was like an ad-supported version, wasn't it, where you got ads in it and you could play the game for free. But thankfully, it's going to be out on consoles. So that should be decent. And I would like to have a go at that and see what happens. See what happens indeed. So yeah, F1 Manager could be the F1 22 beta. Well, we all know it's going to be, really, don't we? Codemasters are worried as well. So I think that's possibly why they haven't put much effort into this year's game, because they know they're going to be beaten by F1. So they've just chuck it out there. Just chuck it. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think they're a bit scared this year, especially as it's coming out on consoles as well, which is great news. Oh, and I see some people in the comments of the trailer for Codemasters have been asking the question, will it be out on PlayStation 4 F1 22? And yes, it will be, is the answer to that. Because there was a lot of talk about it being next gen only over the past few weeks. I've noticed quite a lot of that on Twitter saying, oh no, it's only going to be on... No, it will be on PS4 as well. There's 110 million user base on PS4. They're not going to give that up, are they? Because that's money, that's revenue. Yes, that's more cash for them. So they're not going to stop that. So it will definitely be out for PS4 as well. As for 2023, possibly not. This will probably be the last year that the PS4 version will be out, because at the end of the day, you have to reach a point where you've got to stop supporting these consoles. Now, unfortunately, because the PS5's only got about, I think it's 10 million user base, because no one can get hold of one of the bloody things, then obviously they've got to continue with the PS4. And hopefully next year the situation will improve with the PS5, and then they'll be able to kick the PS4 to the curb, because you can't keep supporting an old console forever. It doesn't work like that. No. I mean, when the PS3 came out, they were still doing lots of games for the PS2 for years afterwards, because the PS3 was so expensive and a lot of people couldn't afford it. Because unfortunately, that console came out right in the middle of what we called the credit crunch in 2007, 2008, I think it was, where all the banks decided to do something naughty and ended up with no money left, so they had to get the government to bail them out. That was around 2008. Now, the PlayStation 3 came out in 2006, but I think it was 2007 before it reached the British shores, and it was £425 when it came out, which I think you'll agree is a heck of a chunk for a games console. And then, of course, the credit crunch came out in 2008, so not a lot of people had the money to get a PlayStation 3. That's why early sales of the PlayStation 3 were pretty disastrous, it has to be said. So a lot of people were still on the PS2, so they had to bring out games for the PS2 for years, which has actually made the popularity of the PS2 enormous, because, you know, PS2 sold 150 million consoles in the end, and it's the highest PlayStation console of all time. That's never going to be beaten. Doesn't matter how many more consoles come out, that's never going to be beaten. No. And so, yeah, it increased the popularity of the PS2. But you reach a point eventually when you have to give up the support. So that will be happening at some point. But it won't be this year. Definitely not. Because there just isn't enough PS5s around at the moment. So possibly next year. You may still get a PS4 version next year. But if you do, that will be the very last one. Yes, definitely. But we will see. Will says, the way Studio Liverpool did the classic cars was great. Yes, I do agree. I did love the classic cars on that Studio Liverpool game. JW well, technically there was a road car on F1 game. It's called the safety car. That's right, there was the safety car. Now that you can agree with, because it's still all part of the Formula One umbrella, isn't it? Safety car, anything to do with Formula One is under the umbrella. So that's okay. But as for supercars, they just got no place in a Formula One game. They really haven't. That is what you've got Gran Turismo for, isn't it? Isn't that what you've got Gran Turismo for? Yeah, not an F1 game. You don't buy an F1 game for collecting supercars, which you probably have to pay for. And what can you do with them? There's no actual reports of whether you can actually use these online or not, so I don't know whether you can or not. And also, they had to scale back from their original plans of the supercars because they had a real big push at the start of the development of F1 22 that these supercars were going to be a massive sort of part of the game. But unfortunately, the FIA put their foot down and said, no, this is a step too far. Now, the FIA have been very generous the last few years with their F1 games, where they've allowed, drivers to swap teams and be driving in different liveries, like the Ferrari and stuff like that. So I think in that department they've been very generous indeed. But they've stepped in this and said, no, this is too far away from what the core of the F1 game is, and so they've had to backtrack on all their plans for the supercars. And it looks now like it's just going to be an add-on extra that you can probably just buy and thrash around in on a time trial or something like that. I don't know how it's going to all work, but they certainly won't be incorporated now into the game. I'm pretty sure it sounds like it was incorporated into the My Team, but it looks like that's now been removed because, as I say, the FIA stepped in and said, no, that's that's too far away from the F1, which it is. It is. You know, you're starting to. It's like Call of Duty going into space. If anyone remembers that, I can't remember which game that was, but it was the one where the trailer on YouTube received the most dislikes in the whole of YouTube's history, and apparently during the algorithm worked out that the dislikes all appeared as soon as all the soldiers ended up in space because that was going too far. It was just like sending James Bond into space in Moonraker. It was a step too far. Yeah. You know, Moonraker was an enjoyable film, but it was a step too far. Yes. So there you go. Will says, when you won a certain number of races, you've got certain time trials, you could unlock them. That's true. Remember that. And also the safety car, medical car on EA Sports F1 2002. Oh, yes. I remember that as well. Will says, 80 fecking pounds? Yes. That's right, Will. 80 fecking... Now, that is the full version. I would like to point that out. So that'll be like the deluxe version. I don't know what you're getting, because the standard version is £60. I don't know what you're getting for extra 20 quid. I don't know. It might have said it in the press release, but I haven't had a look. But yeah, so it's just ridiculous, isn't it? It really is. £80. I never buy those special editions. I just don't think they're worth it. And the trouble is, you can get that DLC. Just wait about 6 months. You can get it a lot cheaper because they knock the price down. Because the DLC pack on its own is usually only about £8, and they usually knock it down to about a £5. So you know, you might as well just wait, unless it's something really, really that you want in the game. But I mean, what have we had so far? Just like old rivals like Coulthard and that in the game and stuff like that. But there hasn't been anything really of note. Oh, Senna versus Prost, that was 1 year, wasn't it? I remember that. Apart from that, it's just not worth it. It's just really not worth it. You might, as I say, the fact that you can buy it separately anyway means you might as well get the standard game and wait 6 months until you're starting to get bored with the game. Well, I doubt it takes 6 months to get bored with the game, to be honest. But as soon as you start to get bored with it, you go, oh, I'll buy the DLC pack cheap, and then add a little bit of longevity to it. Entirely up to you. But no point in pre-ordering it for 80 quid. Really isn't. F1 2023 will be over £100. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know how much FIFA is these days. I don't follow football, so I don't know. But I bet you that's right up there as well. It's just ridiculous. Really is. £40 should be the maximum they charge for a game. Now, of course, as the years have gone on, things have got more expensive. So I'm going to say £50 now. £50 should be the maximum charge for any game. I don't care how good it is. £50 should be the max. There's no justification for £60 or £80 for a video game. Really isn't. Nothing at all. So yeah, it should be set at 50. That's what I say. But no one listened to me, so who cares? JW Knight says, hope you enjoyed my comedy, David. Yes, I did, mate. I did enjoy it very well. Thank you very much. F106. Might be F104. F104, we're all saying that. Okay, I will tell you all. It was F104. Yes, F104. They took away the 0 and made it F104 instead of F1 2004. I've no idea why they did that, because they had the exclusive game from 2003. You would have thought they would have done it then to sort of do a change and say, oh, look, we're exclusive F1 game now, but they didn't. So, but no, they changed it to F104 after 2003, of course, because EA lost the license in 2003 because every single one of their F1 games was basically crap. Yes. Yeah, come at me. Those EA games were rubbish, especially the PS2 ones. Now, I will say that the PC version of, what was it called? Championship something or other. The one where you did the 4 seasons. That game was really, really good. And I do believe it's still getting modded to this day. you can put in like latest teams and whatever. So that was a really good game, but that wasn't done by the same team who did the console versions. That was a completely different team, and so that was really good. But the ones on PlayStation were abysmal, absolutely abysmal. Apart from F1 2000, which was on the PS1, that was the best one that EA brought out. Yeah. It was a little bit easy, unfortunately, but it was a game that was really fun to play. The handling was great, and so yeah, I loved that one. And then F1 Championship season, unfortunately, was the start of the downgrade because it was only released 6 months later. It was basically just the same game, only they put in the orange, the proper orange Arrows livery because that sponsor was announced very, very late into the season before it started, so they couldn't put it in because that was the first F1 game to actually come out at the start of the season. Well, it wasn't. It was 1 week after the start of the season, but it was pretty close, pretty damn close. It was supposed to be, but unfortunately, due to the fact that the old pressing discs and what have you at the factory caused a week delay, so it came out 1 week after the first race. But yeah, that was supposed to be the first game that comes out at the start of the season. So that was great. But then Championship came along and it was, it was more the same. And then after that, it was just drivel followed by more drivel. And some of the things they started to put into the games on the PS2 were ridiculous. Like you couldn't play a race. You had to unlock the weather, for Christ's sake. Unlock the weather. That's just unbelievable. Yeah. And stuff like that. And pit stops. And they had this terrible pit stop test in one of those F1 games, which was just ridiculous. You had to move that analog stick to the millimeter, otherwise you'd fail the test. And oh my god! And one of the games you had to do a complete like Gran Turismo style license before you could even get into the championship, and that used to piss me off no end because I used to do it all pretty easily. It wasn't that difficult until that bloody pit stop routine. We had to do like 5 different things. You had to slow down and then slow down in this like little braking zone. Oh, it was just that one nearly went out the window. Came close to going out the window, I'll tell you. But there you go. Yeah, so that wasn't good. So that's was the first Formula 1 game to actually have its numbers reduced. F1 04. Yeah, that was the one that Mr. Rules was saying about, yes. Hello, Mr. Viper Racing. Welcome to the stream, sir. Yes, a raging Hookster. Well, it has to be said, Brad. It has to be said because it's ridiculous. It really is. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, go and watch that. Go and watch that wonderful 29-second trailer. I would play it on here, but unfortunately I can't because I'm streaming at the same time and my computer will probably blow up if I do 2 at once. So I can't show it, but I don't need to because if you haven't seen it, go and watch it now because it's only 29 seconds of your life and you'll see exactly what I'm raging about. Absolutely. It's quite possibly the worst trailer video I've seen for any computer game, not just F1 22. I think any computer game, that is the worst trailer I've ever seen because it contains no gameplay whatsoever. How can you have the cheek to ask for 80 quid when it contains no... I'm raging again. I'm just so bloody mad. I really am. If they'd have put 10 seconds, just 10... I can't hold the other hand up because I'm holding the tablet. Just 5, 10. Just 10 seconds of gameplay footage, I would have been happy. I would have been, yep, okay, there you go. There's your gameplay footage. 10 seconds, but there it is. But there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. What a bloody rip-off. It's just ridiculous. Absolute rip-off. Just JMO says F19. Nice one, Jamie. It was F104 though. So there you go. There's your answer. JW97 says, but yet they can't be bothered with crossplay. GT7 does it. What's Codemaster's excuse? Well, exactly. I mean, they keep going on about all these extra resources now they've got. I mean, EA have got their very own motion capture studio now that Codemasters didn't have. If they had to do any motion capture, they had to do it off-site and go somewhere else and, get this done for any of the motion capture. But EA have got their own studio. So, for motion capture, it's not a problem now. So hopefully the likenesses of the drivers should be pretty decent, I have to say. I mean, it's been okay, but it hasn't been, what you'd call 100%. So yeah, that should be improved. So why can't they do that? That's what, I mean, they can't even do the online properly. I'm hearing reports that F1 2021, they've just given up on the online. Yes, because it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I mean, we don't even play it in our league on a Monday night. We're still on F1 2020 because it's just too much of a pain in the arse, apart from the handling problems of 2021, which is another reason why we don't play it. It's just too much hassle to set up for online, so we don't bother. Because 2020 is easy and probably always will be. I just hope that 2022 is not going to be the same, or we're going to be still on 2020 again. And that's going to make me very sad. But there you go. Infinite Warfare. Yes. Also on F1 22, Bitcoins. Get it? Calls Bitcoin. Yeah, I did get that joke. Yeah, that's well done, EA. Bitcoins. Yeah. Nice one. Down with the kids. Yeah, down with the kids. Yeah. They see Bitcoins and they think, oh, it's like Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, we'll buy them. Now, I was on one of the older games and they gave me some Bitcoins, quite a few in fact. And I thought, well, that's pretty decent. I don't know why I got them, but I just did. So I said, okay, thank you very much. That'll do. That'll do. And I thought, I wonder if I can spend these on the DLC pack for this game, which I haven't got because, as I said earlier, I don't bother with. So I went to the bit where it said, buy this DLC pack, and I thought, okay, I'll see if I can use Bitcoins. But no, of course you can't, because it's virtual currency, isn't it? It's not real money, it's just virtual money, and so you can't use it for anything brought outside. No, you can't. No, so you can't even buy even though to buy the DLC I had enough in Bitcoin to do it. In fact, I had more than enough to buy the DLC. Oh, no, you can't do that, mate. No, you can't do that because it's only virtual money. No. If you actually want to buy something, you have to use real money, not virtual. No. So we'll give you all this money, and what can we do with the virtual Bitcoin? Well, you can buy some gloves, maybe a race suit if you've got enough, new livery for your car. Anything else? Nah. No, mate. Nah. Moving on. Hello, Mr. Plynal Pessy. Well, that F1 22 reveal was a waste of time, wasn't it? Yes, it bloody well was. And please take my advice and do not pre-order it for £80. I'm probably going to get a cease and desist order from Codemasters if they actually watch this. Take him down. Please. I'm doing you all a public service, okay? I don't do this for me. I don't care either way. All I'm saying is, please don't pre-order this game for 80 quid. Please don't. Not without a single frame of gameplay. Not worth it. Really isn't. In fact, demand they release another trailer with at least some gameplay on it. That's what I say. Then you can make the decision. But yeah. Bet they'll put in Ultimate Team soon. Yeah, that's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. Viper says it's like the Colin McRae series. Colin McRae 3, then it was 04, then 2005. Like, come on, make your mind up. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous, Brad. And then, of course, they started to dip in quality as well. I mean, Colin McRae 3 was a great game. It was unfortunate that you were locked into the Ford Focus, which was always a disappointment to me, I have to say, because I never liked the Ford Focus. I always liked the Impreza. So I was forced to drive as the Ford Focus. That was disappointing, but unfortunately that was a lot to do with licensing, because they lost, well, I say that they didn't lose a license, but the actual World Rally license went to that official game, didn't it? And so they couldn't use like the official rally cars, apart from Collins' one, which they'd already signed a deal for. So that kind of locked that up. And so they thought, well, there's nothing else we can do then. We'll have to carry on and just do it as the focus. But when F1, look at me, F1, mad. But when Colin McRae 4 came out, of course, they did the same thing, but they had the other cars as like the generic road-going versions of the cars, but you could actually drive those in the career if you didn't want to drive the full focus, which was good. I like that. But then, of course, 2000 F1, I've done it again, F1. Colin McRae 2005 came out, and it was just more of the same, wasn't it? It was basically just the 2004 version with more tracks and a few more cars, but that was basically it, wasn't it? It was basically the same version, and then they just started to decline in quality, and then of course that was it for Colin McRae. Well, not for his name, but for the ones on PS2, and then of course it went to Dirt. Dirt was okay, apart from the fact that the handling of the cars were pretty much the same over all the vehicle classes. Didn't matter if it was a great big monster truck or, you know, a World Rally car. To me, all the handling just felt exactly the same. It felt like you were floating over the track, not actually driving over the track. So that was a disappointment. But then, of course, Colin Dirt 2 came out, and that was pretty decent, I have to say. Pretty decent. And their quality did improve. Dirt 3, I think that was a decent one as well. But then Dirt 4 came along on PS4, and I think that was a bit of a backward step. And as for Dirt 5, we'll just move on. We won't continue with that on that vein. We'll just move on. Poochie Head. Thank you, Mr. Poochie Head. I knew he'd know what it was. F1 Challenge 99 to 2002. The PC version of that is bloody brilliant, I have to say. I used to watch a YouTuber, I can't remember what his name was, but he did pretty much quite a few seasons on that game, and it was really good for the PC. But the console versions were diabolical. Basically because they were done by Visual Sciences, who also did F1 98 on the PlayStation 1, if anyone remembers that. Yeah, that's why they weren't very good. No. Plynor Plessy says F1 Challenge 99 was the only good EA game. Yeah, I agree with you. On PC, not on PlayStation. Oh my god, it was a dog. Really was. Really was. What was that one I did on my guide series? 100% race series, was it? I think it was it 2001, where pretty much every single lap I got a stop and go penalty. I think it was 2001, because the stop and go penalty was just so harsh. Tiny little contact with another car, and that was it. 10-second stop and go. I remember doing the 100%, and I think I had to stop every single lap. Something like that anyway. Yeah. Great game, EA. Great game. Poochie Head says, I still play it to this day. I expect you do, Mr. Pucci. I expect you do. It was a great game. I do understand you can still mod that game, even with like you see. I don't know whether you can do it with 2022 or whatever. But I heard you could go right up there to quite last few years of seasons. So that's really good that you can still do that. And it's just a great game. The graphics for the time were really good, and the physics seemed to be pretty decent as well. So yeah. That was an enjoyable game. Unfortunately, I've never actually played it because I haven't got a PC, so not a PC that will play games anyway. Obviously, I've got a PC, that's what I'm talking through, but I haven't got one that would play games, so I haven't been able to play it. Poochie Head says F1 2000 and F1 2000 Championship was so good. This game got me into F1 as well as F1 97. Yeah, I agree with you. F1 97 will always be the daddy to me. Yes. That's always my benchmark game that I compare all the others to. Yeah, because I just love it so much. And, it's dated now. It's very, very simple now, but it was a proper F1 game. Unlike today's games, it was a proper F1 game. That's to be said. JW97 says the ones on PC were done by the same people who make R Factor. Bet they regret being sold to Motorsport Games. Yes, I bet they do. Oh, I didn't know that. That's probably why it was so bloody good then. That's good. I like that. Poochie says now I might have to go back and binge watch Dave's old videos. Yeah, it was the 100% race series. Just go to the EA games from the PS2 games from 2000 onwards. I think it was 2001, but I'm not sure. But one of those, I'm pretty sure I got 10-second penalty pretty much every lap or every other lap. Something like that anyway. If you see lots of comedy on the thumbnail, you'll know that was the one. But there's only about 3 or 4 of them, so it won't take long to find the right one, I shouldn't think. 2000 was a strange year for F1 games. F1 2000, F1 Championship Season 2000, Formula 1 2000, F1 World Grand Prix 2000, and Grand Prix 3 had a 2000 update. It was a very strange time. Most of that, though, was due to the FIA. What they did pretty much from 99 actually was they opened up the license and allowed other people to develop for it, so it wasn't constrained to just one developer. It was pretty decent of them, I have to say. But yeah, that's why in 1999, I mean, we had 4 F1 games with a 99 season as well, if anyone can remember those. And then, as you say, in 2000, was there 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 6 actually with the Grand Prix 3. So yeah, that's why there was a lot of ones in 2000. But unfortunately, in 2001 onwards, F1, possibly due to oversaturation of the market, like so many games, it was like, what? I mean, they all featured the same teams and drivers, so the only difference was the gameplay and the graphics. That was all, because they couldn't, because those times it was all rigidly set by the FIA, so you couldn't change anything. So there was no rocket cars or anything like that. You know, that was it. And so possibly due to oversaturation of the market in 2001, it slowed down significantly. In fact, I'm just trying to think. I think it was only Formula 1 2001, wasn't it? That had the 2001 season? I'm pretty sure it was. No, it wasn't. EA as well. EA. Yep. It was Studio Liverpool and EA. So there was 2 in 2001 as well. But it had still reduced a lot from 2000 when there was about 6, which was just madness. Absolute madness. A lot of that, though, was due to popularity of the sport in 2000, because ITV had been showing Formula 1 for a few years, and the popularity of that program had just really skyrocketed. So by the year 2000, everyone was watching Formula 1, and so, you know, the FIA opened up the restrictions that they had so other people could develop F1 games, and it was great. Well, it wasn't great, because why would you want 6 of the same game? But there you go. But yeah, they scaled back on it. And now, of course, we've only got one developer making F1 games. Yeah, great. Fantastic. Just what we need. But there you go. But that's basically because no one else wants to make F1 games, because they don't make a lot of money. They don't sell very well. You look at the official figures of computer games. F1, it doesn't even make the top 20. It's right down there. I think it's about 44 or something like that. Average sales over a year. They never sell well at all, because it's a minority market. It really is. It's not Call of Duty, is it? It's way not Call of Duty. It's not FIFA either. It's a minority, and that's why they don't sell well. Of course, with esports, it is gaining popularity, but in my opinion, it's also waning in popularity as well, because people are just seeing through the hype and deciding that, nah, can't be bothered with this anymore. So yeah. But anyway, tons of 2000 games. Yes, there was. Unbelievable. The amount of 2000 games. Of course, F1, Formula 1 2001, the Studio Liverpool version for the PlayStation 2, that was supposed to have been Formula 1 2000, but they delayed it because they saw all the other versions coming out, and they thought, this is just going to This is just going to get lost in the mix. And we've spent a lot of money on this game, which I had done because it's the first game, of course, on the PlayStation 2. And it was by Studio Liverpool, which was a brand new studio at the time as well. And so they thought, nah. I mean, the game wasn't quite ready for 2000 anyway. It was 80% finished, but it wasn't quite there. And they were reaching sort of the deadline, which back in those days was September, October. And so they thought, you know what, we'll polish it and do it next year. So that's what they did. But yeah, otherwise there could have been 7 games in 2000. That would have been great, wouldn't it? I'm glad they delayed it though, because F1 2001 was great. Had a few problems. Yep, no tyre wear. Whoopsie. Did have a few bugs in it, yeah. And fuel, you could basically half fill the tank and it would last the whole race. So the fuel wasn't going down how it should be. Not like the latest games, of course. So there was a problem with fuel there. But apart from that, the look and the graphics of the game and the handling of the game was absolutely superb. Loved that one. Viper Racing. Seen the new trailer and honestly it's just the 22 car CGI that F1 used when they revealed their specs for the car, and that's not a game trailer. Quite right, Brad. Yeah, that is exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. The CG of the 22 car. And yeah, absolutely nothing. As I say, 10 seconds of gameplay footage is all they needed. 10 seconds and I would have been fine with that. But no, they couldn't even be bothered to do that. Couldn't even be bothered. Why on earth, as a big company, would you even bother to bring out a trailer of that shitness? Why would you even bother? Why would you not say, oh no, I think we'll leave that for a few weeks because, you know, what's going to happen now? I mean, you know, has everyone suddenly gone, ooh, must go out and Hopefully you haven't gone out and pre-ordered it. Please, for the love of God, don't do it. Don't do it, please. Oh my God. I have not been hitting a wall for the last 2 hours. Alright, I wasn't actually, but I was raging after I saw that trailer, really, seriously. I had to go and sit down for an hour and calm myself down because, in fact, it's lucky I didn't come on straight away after, because that would have really been a rant and I probably got taken off YouTube. Yeah, because, I was incandescent with rage. But I calmed down and then I came on, so yeah. That's why I'm a little bit later tonight. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I feel if you go and pre-order F1 22 right now, you might as well walk out your front door, open up your wallet, take out 80 quid and give it to the nearest passerby. You might just as well do that because that's exactly what you're doing. You're just giving it away. You're just giving it away with absolutely no details of what you're getting for your 80 quid. So, yeah, please, for the love of God, don't pre-order it. Please. Please. Please don't pre-order it. I know people are going to, because human nature, unfortunately, is what it's all about. And people are going to see that, get really excited for 29 seconds of nothingness. And I can't stop those. But for the majority of people, the sensible people of this world, please do not pre-order this game. And demand Codemasters bring out a proper trailer and not that total pile of shite. Scott Barnes says, would you ever play Tomb Raider 2, for example, on your second YouTube channel, Extra Games PlayStation? I would, Scott. I would. Yes, I love the Tomb Raider games. I'm always playing them. I'm playing one right now at the moment, in fact. So I would. I'm just wondering whether anyone want to see it. That's all I'm wondering, you know. But I have done little experiments, but they've been mostly on this channel, which didn't work out too well. I did do Crash Team Racing, which was absolutely brilliant. I got tons of views for that. The first episode, and then the second episode completely tanked. Nobody watched it, and I went, oh bugger, and so I cancelled the series, which was very, very annoying because I'd already recorded 6 episodes. Yeah, 6 episodes of Crash Team Racing. I think I was doing it as Cockney Dave. I can't remember. Anyway, 6 episodes, first episode was brilliant. It's amazing how it happens on YouTube and how the algorithm works. You do something different and everyone goes, wow, wow, and you get loads of views for it. The second episode comes along and it completely tanks. And you know, and you think, why did I fucking bother? Why did I fucking bother, you know? So yeah, I'd recorded 6 episodes. The second episode completely, I mean, it didn't just do less, it's, sunk to the floor. So I went, well, there's no point. There's no point. Because, you know, you've got to do it on your views, basically. And I don't care whether the views drop on videos, as long as there's a consistency there. There's some kind of, you know, consistently views across the board for your videos. But when it completely tanks, then you got to say, well, you know, there's no point in continuing. So yeah, I cancelled that series. But yeah, I'd love to do Tomb Raider. But, you know, if anybody would like to see that, then let me know, and I will seriously consider it. I will, seriously. I'll do it on the extra channel, because I can do it just for fun then, because there's no adverts. I don't make any money on that channel because there's less than 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, I don't mind. Helium Trophy says, can you change the language setup though? I remember with F106 I changed from English to Finnish just to avoid listening to James Allen. Well, anybody needs to avoid listening to James Allen, don't they? Let's face it. But that was a good idea. I don't know whether you can or not. Probably not, knowing code, or should I say EA Sports. It's in the game. Pinal Pessy says, JW90. Oh, sorry, he's replying. Pinal Pessy says, Dave, do you think that EA and Codemasters should maybe take a year or two off for the next F1 game, so then they'll focus on making the game? Yes. I've actually said this. I think it was last week's video, or maybe a couple of videos ago. I think EA should take a year off. I don't think we need a Formula 1 game every single year. Now, of course, for this year's new regulations, new looks of the cars, so it's understandable. But if nothing happens to the cars, which it looks like they're not going to now until 2026 when the new engine regulations come in. Now, of course, everything's now locked off. That was all part of the Honda leaving the sport, wasn't it? And Red Bull making their own engines. Everything is now locked off until 2026. So what we've got now is going to go all the way through till 2026. So nothing's going to change apart from the liveries on the cars. So I believe they should take a year off and come back with a damn good game in the second year, because the only reason why these games aren't very good is time constraints. That's all it is. They've only got less than 365 days, because they're still sorting out bugs and glitches with the previous game well into October of when they've released it. So they really only have about a 7 or 8 month window to make these games. And you can't make a quality game in 7 or 8 months. I mean, look at Grand Theft Auto. Even though I've completely gone off Rockstar in the last few years because of what they've done, when they made GTA 5, it was pretty damn perfect. But it took, 5 years to make? So there's your answer. If you're going to make a great game, it takes about 5 years. I don't think we should wait 5 years for another F1 game, but I think a 2-year wait would be fine for most people. I really do. Because it also gives them more chances to sort out the bugs and the glitches, get the online sorted out properly on the game that you've got, and then run it for 2 years. Now, what you could do is after the first year, you could run out a livery patch for the new season, so that all the cars get the new liveries for like 2023 or whatever. What's wrong with that? Well, I'll tell you what's wrong with that, of course. It means they won't make any money. They won't make their £60 or £80 on a new game. But of course, they could charge you some cash for the new liveries. That would make up some revenue. But of course, they wouldn't get away with charging you £60 just for a 2023 livery on all the cars. That would be outrageous and they couldn't expect everyone to do that, but they could charge, I don't know, £10 for the new livery, which a lot of people would be prepared to pay. I'd pay £10 for a 2023 livery any day of the week. Any day of the week. If the game was decent, I would pay £10 for a new livery, yeah. But of course, that's not going to happen because they're going to lose all that revenue every year that they get from the 60 or the £80 that they get. So, they're in essence caught in their own vicious cycle as well. They've got to make a game in 8 months. They've got to make money from that game so they can carry that money on to the next game. So they're in a cycle that they can't break from either, to be honest. I wouldn't say I'm sympathetic, but I do understand the problems that they are facing. But I think, with EA's cash and all that cash they get from Call of Duty, they could bench it for 1 year. Just for 1 year. They could bench it and then bring it back next year. And then the shortfall, they could make that up with all the other franchises. I'm sure they could, really. Because as I say, F1 doesn't sell brilliantly anyway, because it's a minority market. It doesn't. So they could do it, but they won't, because they want that cash every year. They want that income, which is fair enough. They've got employees that have to be paid, and if you're not working on a game or getting revenue back from a game, they can't pay their employees. So I can understand that. So I can understand everything, why they're in this situation. But I just think it would be better for them if they made one every 2 years than just bringing out basically the same game every year with tweaks and whatevers. Because that's what this one's going to be. It's going to be the same game, just with a few tweaks on it. It really is. It's not going to be any different. Plain all Pessy, says Poochie Head. Wasn't there Tommy Mackinnon Rally as well? Yes, there was, Mr. Helium Trophy. Yep, I remember that. JW97 says, call me old-fashioned even though I'm 24, but I thought the whole point of a premiere was to show off something you have created. That's what I use that feature for on YouTube. EA and Cody's that. Yeah, it's quite right. It is something that you should use as a platform for something that you've created. But they haven't created anything, have they? That's just 29 seconds of your life that you're never going to get back. Of nothing. That's the disappointing thing. It's just an absolute nothing video. It really is. Viper says, the less said about Dirt 5, the better. Yes, quite right, Brad. Quite right. I don't mind it. Big problems I have with the game is the, if you can call it, career mode. It's just rubbish. Absolute rubbish. I hate the fact that there's no damage, only visual damage, but no actual damage, because that's the whole point of any kind of rally game, is that you stuff it into the barrier or whatever, or stuff it into a tree, and half the front of your car's hanging off, and you can't steer it properly, the engine's just about to explode, the wheels have already fallen off. That's the joy of a rally game, surely. That's what it's all about. And you've got to try and, still got 2.5 minutes of circuit to go to try and get to the end. That's surely the joy of a rally game. That's what you get it for. But Dirt 5 has got none of that. And the other thing is that podcast from Nolan North, of course, Mr. Uncharted himself. That is just so annoying. It's unbelievable. And it just runs all the way through the game. Unless you switch it off. Which, if you've got any sense, you will do. It's just the worst idea to put in a dirt game that I've ever seen in all my life. I don't know what brainiac came up with that idea and said, "Oh, that'd be good. Let's just do a podcast, 2.5 hours of Nolan North talking absolute shite," because that's exactly what he is. In fact, a lot of people don't even know that that's Nathan Drake, because his voice is just completely different, because he's just talking normally, but he sounds so bloody bored as well. He's probably just reading that off a script, and he's just like, come on, Flash, yeah, we need to, we got another race now, Flash, we got another, it's my name in Dirt 5, by the way, yeah, we got another race now, Flash, yeah, So you're doing quite well, aren't you? Yeah, doing quite well. And that's how it goes for 2.5 solid hours. Unless you got the sense to switch that off, which I have done now, because I just can't. He was great in Uncharted. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Loved him in Uncharted, but in this, in the history of bad ideas, that was number one. Yeah, don't put a podcast in your game, Codemaster, just because you've done the game and you can't think of anything else to improve it. Ridiculous. Alex Stop. Yes, that's the chappie. Yes, he did a series on F1 challenge and then ironically stopped it. Yes. Wasn't much of a challenge then, was it, in the end? I remember that, yeah. Alex Stop. Yeah, he did loads of videos and then just disappeared. Hopefully he didn't die. I don't think he did. I think he's all right. I think if anyone knows where Alex Stop is, then please let me know. But I'm sure he's okay. I think he just, like a lot of people who do stuff on YouTube, they'll just suddenly stop and then never come back, and you start to worry, and then you find out years later, no, we just didn't do anymore. That was it. There's no obligation, is there, to carry on going forever? That's it. We stopped. So yeah, I'm sure he's fine. Just JMO, trivia question. The last game franchise that EA took from Codemasters, then completely ruined. Ooh, Jamie. You got me there. You got me there. Was it Grid? No, it's still... I don't know. On the topic of Grand Prix 2000 that was released in 2001, Grand Prix 3, the game based on 1988, was released in 2000. Wowzers me trousers. Grand Prix 4 was based on the 2001 season, released a year later, and is still considered by many to be the best F1 game ever. Scott Barnes said, and didn't Visual Science PS 2001? Yeah, Visual Sciences did F1 98 on the PS1, and then they did the PS2 F1 games. They also did Championship Season, of course, but that was just an update, so. But they did Championship Season, but then they went over and did the PS2 games, so it was F1 2000, 2001, 2002, and the one that... one that Mr. Pucci had said, which I've forgotten already. Challenge. 99 to 2002. They did all those games. Yeah, that was Visual Sciences. Now, on some of those games, I think it was the first one, there was nothing on the outside of the box to say it was done by Visual Sciences. No. If you get right to the end of the game, you just get, like, when the credits come up, little tiny bit at the bottom saying made by Visual, because they were trying to hide the fact that the same team that did F1 98 did this game. But, to be fair, 6 people worked on F1 98. Yes, 6 people. Yeah, that's not even what you call a team, is it? But 6. They had a really much bigger staff for the PS2 games. So, yeah, bigger staff. But it was still Visual Sciences. Headed up by none other than Mr. Russell Kay, who has now left the industry, and he's doing something with water these days. Yeah, I did look him up the other week. Something to do with water preservation or whatever, but he's not in computer games whatsoever anymore. So that's it. He's gone. He'd had enough, mate. Don't know, that was Studio 33, not Visual Science. Visual booked out after 98 until EA hired them to do the F1 games on the PlayStation. Yes, that's quite correct. Yeah, Studio 33 did F1 99. I've got to get all these names right. F1 99, 2000 and 2001 on the PS1. That was Studio 33, which is another different studio. I think they were still in Liverpool as well. There's so many studios from Liverpool doing these F1 games. It's unbelievable. So that was Studio 33. They did those games, and then after that, they went on and did Destruction Derby Arena on the PS2. That was Studio 33. They'd also done Demolition. Was it Demolition Racer on the PS1? It was like supposed to be the another version of Destruction Derby. But yeah, Demolition Racer, that was on the PS1. So they went on to do Destruction Derby. And then this other studio appeared, Studio Liverpool, which then started making F1 2001 on the PlayStation 2. Yes. And then they went on to do, of course, 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Championship Edition, which was the last one. Whew! What a mouthful. What a mouthful. You were like Toto Wolff then. Yes, I was very much like Toto. Pretty much how Liberty were trying to hype up their change for the F1 rules. Yeah, quite agree. Scott says, replace Carmen Jordan with Lara Croft. I would. I really would. Welcome back to the Lara Croft career mode. Now that would be a thing, wouldn't it? That would be a thing. But wouldn't she just shoot the cars out of the way? Driving for Williams. He'll just call it the Sophia Flourish career mode. I probably would, actually. Yes. Lara Croft driving a Williams anyway. PC version was called 1990-2002, but the console version was Career Challenge. Yes, the first F1 game for career was F1 Career Challenge by EA, not F104. Yes, you're right. Almost. Almost. The first career mode was F1 World Grand Prix 2000 on the PS1. Yeah, that was the first career mode. That was done by Eurotechnics, who also did the Le Mans games. It was a career mode, sort of, but it was a career mode. That was basically the first. But the sort of first that most people remember is, yeah, F1 Career Challenge. That's what most people remember. But yeah, it was sort of pipped to the post slightly by that game. I mean, it was a career. It went over 4 years, and you had R&D as well, where you could upgrade your car. Very, very basic R&D. There was only sort of engine, tyres, and whatever. But yeah, that was, I suppose, the first career mode. But not a lot of people even know that game exists. Yeah, not many people know that game exists. Anyway, it's on my 100% race series, F1 World Grand Prix 2000, I think it's called. Yeah, that was the one. And that has got a career mode in it. I know that because, unfortunately, to get it to work, you have to unlock several features just to get it to work. And you have to do driving tests like oh God. Please don't get me started on that. So yeah, technically you are right. That's the first one that everyone remembers, is the F1 Career Challenge. Yeah, because as I say, that F1 World Grand Prix 2000, it sold very badly. Not a lot of people bought it. Now, the first version of that was F1 World Grand Prix 99. That was made by Lancor Games, and that was beyond shite. That was several shades of shite. The handling was diabolical. The graphics were, oh my God, out of this world. And so when they did a follow-up to it, they brought Eurotechnics in to do the game. As I say, they did Le Mans on PS1, which is a pretty decent game, has to be said. And that had a career path in it as well, and they just adapted that for the Formula 1 game. You can see a lot of similarities between the two. And so, yeah, that's what they did. And so that was officially the first career mode F1 game on PlayStation, at least. Yeah, but as I say, no one remembers it because it didn't sell very well. Which is, if you've played it, you'll know why. Yeah, you'll know why. It also had a chief mechanic, which they must have set the volume at about 2,000 or something, because, oh my God, you just end up deaf. The first thing I had to do was turn the chief engineer voice down to almost, I think it was 1, just so I could hear it, because it's so loud. So loud. F1 22 time for TMI. Yes. Okay. Okay, that's almost it. That is the end of the stream now. I'd just like to say thanks to everyone for watching. You've been awesome as always. To Mr. Scott Barnes, JW97 Helium Trophy. We've had Just JMO has been in there as well. Plynal Plessy, Viper Racing. Thank you. Mr. Poochie Head's been in there as well. And I think that was everyone. Just scrolling up to have a look. Will F1, don't forget he was there right at the start as well. And and Matthew D'Souza, and of course Scott Barnes as well. Thank you so much for everyone for joining tonight. I hope the ranting wasn't too much for you. And don't forget, take my advice, do not pre-order the F1 game. Now, if I'm not back at all tomorrow with a video, or for the rest, you'll know I've been deleted by EA. If I get a knock on the door later, two blokes in black suits, you'll know what's happened. Okay? I'll be sending videos in from my jail cell, so don't worry. But we should be okay. We should be okay. So thanks everyone from me and Mr. TB Bear. He's not had much exposure tonight. No, I've been ranting too much. But yes, there. Wait a minute. Evil bear. Happy bear. Evil bear. Happy bear. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. You have been awesome as always. And hopefully you will take my advice and not pre-order F1 22. Hopefully it will be great. Hopefully it will be great. You know what? If it turns out great, I'll be so happy. I really will. I'll be so happy. But you know what? I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be. Thanks, everyone. You've been awesome as always. And good night.